السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مستمعينا الأحبة، نحييكم في حلقة جديدة تجمعنا وياكم وبرنامج حلو الوصال الذي يأتيكم أسبوعيا من قلب المدينة سابكو سنتر. ضيوفنا دائما متفردين ودائما استثنائيين، ولكن حلقتنا هذا الأسبوع شوية استثنائية أكثر، لأن ضيفنا راح نجري الحوار معاه إن شاء الله باللغة الإنجليزية. اللي متابعينا على مواقعنا في صفحات التواصل الاجتماعي يقدروا يشوفوا تسجيل الحلقة كاملة عبر تطبيق الوصال، وأيضا صفحتنا على اليوتيوب باللغة الإنجليزية مع الترجمة، ولكن لغرض البث الإذاعي راح تكون مدبلجة للغة العربية. ليش احنا حبينا ان ضيفنا يكون موجود معنا برغم انه لا يتحدث اللغة العربية؟ لأن من الشخصيات الملهمة والشخصيات اللي قدرت تحقق في وقت جدا بسيط تغيير جذري في المؤسسة التي تمثلها. ضيفنا اليوم في 2019 هذا العام حصل على رابع أفضل CEO في المنطقة، وأيضا مجلة فوربس ميدل إيست اعتبرته من 50 شخصية قيادية لمؤسسة محلية كCEO. ايان دانش CEO of ooredoo عمان. السلام عليكم مستر ايان دانش.
عليكم السلام.
It's a pleasure to have you here with us today on this exceptional episode. As I was explaining to our viewers that we will be dubbing and putting subtitles on the episode. So I hope everybody will enjoy listening to your journey up until you became CEO of ooredoo Oman, which happened in 2017. But first, we would like to go down memory lane to Ian, the young apprentice looking for a job anywhere, would want to do anything just to get a job. So let's go back there.
Sure, yeah. So my career started, or my journey started way back, 16 years old, in the UK, in London. When I left school, there were two career paths that we were presented with. We had these career days and career advisors, and for us it was you either went into banking or engineering. And I didn't fancy banking because that for me back then was an office job. Yeah. So engineering sounded more hands-on, something that more appealing to me.
So at 16 years old, you didn't have a college degree. You didn't go to university.
Right.
I'm assuming you just graduated high school at that point.
That's right, yeah.
And you had to have a job.
Not great qualifications either, so it was like the bare minimum.
Okay, so what kind of job were you looking for?
So at the time, I think as I said, any engineering job, and at that time, apprenticeships were still something that was quite significant, and this was an opportunity to get into an apprenticeship, which would then take your education a little bit further, and to develop a career. But at the time, I wasn't really thinking. It was more about getting something. Yeah. At 16 years old, living at home with my parents still, I wanted to get a job. And
anything that will help you get out of your parents' house and start your own career.
Something like that. So at 16, I was still expecting to be in my parents for a little bit longer. But so any engineering job, and at the time there were lots of different engineering apprenticeship opportunities. And I looked at whether it was mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, etc. And at one stage, I almost got a job in a mechanical engineering sort of factory, if you like. And just before I was due to start, they turned me down. I was so upset, so disappointed. And my mother, I remember at the time telling me, "Don't worry, something else will show up." And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Anyway, sure enough, I went to a number of different interviews, different places, and eventually I landed a position with British Telecom. Okay. British Telecom being the largest telecommunications company in the UK. And back then, I think it was even called it was Post Office Telecommunications. So it was before privatization. This was a long, long time ago. And this was back in the day of landlines.
What did you do back then? What was your job description at the time?
So we were called trainee technician apprentices, and they put us through an amazing program, actually, looking back, of education. So you went to college, technical college, to do an ordinary national certificate in telecommunications and then a higher national certificate in telecommunications. And you did on-the-job training. So I can remember going out with telephone engineers in vans to people's houses, installing telephones, meeting people, repairing payphones, going into telephone exchanges. And back then, wires were connected in the air, so you had to climb poles. We used to go down manholes, learning sort of all the engineering skills. But then I think it was probably every 2 or 3 months, you would have a month back at school, training, learning, and going through a proper formal process. But it was a very structured program. And at that time, it kind of realized how, hang on, this is something you have to take a bit more seriously. And particularly around the qualifications then, leaving school maybe not taking qualifications too seriously. Back then they sort of said, no, you have to take this seriously, and otherwise you won't make it through the program. And it was a 3-year program, and I wanted to get to the end.
Okay, so it's literally you started from the bottom, and today you are ranked one of the highest CEOs in the region, being CEO of ooredoo Oman. Looking back at the way you started, and I'm sure, I don't know if you had a vision back then, but I'm sure you do have one now. So did your vision about your career change as you progressed into your career?
Yeah, so I think...
Or was it clear from the very beginning, once you decided that telecommunication is something that I'm interested in and I want to pursue as a career?
I don't think it was telecommunication as much, but certainly the different positions as my career evolved. So starting off as an apprentice engineer, you saw all different aspects of the company, and including other departments. So you started to be aware of sales and marketing, finance, and other aspects of the business that maybe I wasn't even aware of, particularly as a 16-year-old. I don't think anyone really understood, or I didn't understand, what was entailed in a business, what careers were out there. But so you start to become aware, sales, marketing, other opportunities.
You had the chance to explore and decide where you fit better,
And going through the engineering part, towards the end, you come to the end of the 3 years, there are opportunities to go into like a permanent engineering position, and then you have a career path, becoming a technician, and then a senior technician, and super senior technician, so on and so forth. But at that time, I'd just become aware of marketing and sales, and I saw that, I was explaining to you earlier, people wearing suits and getting a company car to go out and selling.
Looked appealing.
Looked appealing. So this is a very interesting, and maybe now, being by then 18, 19, maturing a bit, thinking actually this is maybe suited more to me and my personality. So, and I liked the people that were working there, and I started to get contacts there, and eventually I managed to move into marketing. And from there, the vision started to emerge. Oh, hang on a second, there's more to marketing than just communication. There's other aspects, there's product management, there's this, there's that, there's the other. And then I started to take that a bit more formally and went into some marketing education. And again, the company very supportive, so put me through it's the Chartered Institute of Marketing, a certificate and then diploma. And I started to see those opportunities emerging in front of me. So, and the career aspirations sort of developed step by step from there.
So as we mentioned earlier, that you started your career with no college degree, but you managed to eventually go to university, get a degree in the field that you came to find you are interested in pursuing a career in. And today you have a master's. So how did you manage to work, be in school, and have evolve your vision further until you became who you are today?
So actually, I was thinking about this the other day. It's quite tough because I did all my education part-time, whether it was part-time as an apprentice, but that's during the working day. But my further education in sales, marketing, and then business, and then the master's was all part-time after work. But I guess I had a lot more energy then, and the goal was clear to me. To get on, to get a better position, to fulfill the sort of aspirations that I had. So, and the fact that the company was supporting, both financially and providing, in terms of paying for the course, paying for the books, supporting me in every way. So I was motivated to work and to study to achieve the goals that I had.
This is a very important message that we have to put out there, that if you have the right vision and you know where you're headed and you have a plan, you will be able to do anything that you aspire to do, regardless of the situation, whether you have to work or you have to study or you have a family. There's always a way to get to your final destination and your final goal. We have to take a break.
Okay.
And we will continue right after this break. عودة لكم من جديد مستمعينا الأحبة عبر أثير الوصال في حلو الوصال الذي يأتيكم من قلب المدينة سابكو سنتر. نذكركم أنه حلقتنا لليوم استثنائية، والحلقة كاملة باللغة الإنجليزية تقدروا تتابعوها عن طريق مواقعنا على مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي، وأيضا عن طريق تطبيق الوصال. نواصل مع ضيفنا ايان دنش، الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة ooredoo عمان. So Mr. Ian Dench, you took us down memory lane about how you started your career, you figured out what you want to do, what you're interested in, and you managed to build your vision as you grew in the organization you started your career at. We'd like to know, when did you decide that you want to move on from that organization that supported you a lot and start pursuing a career in an international level, not just locally?
Okay. Well, again, I was quite lucky because British Telecom is a big company, and back in the end of the 90s, just showing how old I am now. Back in the 90s, some of the audience probably won't remember that far back.
You don't look a day over 30, so we're good.
Anyway, back in the 90s, British Telecom was expanding overseas, expanding internationally. At the same time, mobile communications was becoming, it was already established, but it was becoming much more important and was growing around the world. And British Telecom at the time was expanding internationally. So I was very lucky to get the opportunity. By then I was working in mobile communications, to get the opportunity to go and look at some investment opportunities that the company had overseas in the Far East. And I have a habit of volunteering for those positions that maybe others, because if it's a quicker route or a shortcut to where I want to get to. So I had the opportunity to volunteer to look at an acquisition in South Korea.
Okay.
So this was British Telecom looking to acquire a company or part of a company in South Korea. I also worked on some projects in Hong Kong, Japan, Singapore, and other places around the Far East. So I started to become, if you like, an expert in new business M&A, mergers and acquisitions, and new business acquisition in the Far East. And so I sort of transitioned my career to that kind of focus. And worked in South Korea for a number of years. And then an opportunity came up to be permanently based in the Far East, in Singapore. And again, having spent by then, some time in the Far East, I thought, this is fantastic. I've seen another side of life. So not just working, in the UK, but the expat, life, and working with other cultures, other, people from all different walks of life, but in particular, the different cultures.
Being exposed to different and a new culture has a lot of advantages, but also some disadvantages working as an expat in a whole new culture to you. Was there any challenge that you faced personally at this point of your career, being in a new culture, dealing with the new kind of mentality of client base and so on?
Yeah, definitely. I think the key thing that I learned was, and maybe by trial and error, I'm not sure, but different cultures have different approaches, different ways to get things done, in particular getting things done. Because if you have most of the time in business, you're trying to achieve a certain goal, a certain objective. And different cultures have different ways of getting to that aim. It's usually based on personal relationships, as all business is. And of course, culture has how people interact, is very much impacted by different cultures, depending where you come from. So particularly going into somewhere like South Korea or Japan, where it's very much built on trust and friendship over a period of time, where you build up a relationship before you do the business. So I started to learn that different cultures, different approaches, and even the difference between maybe in working in Korea or Japan is very different. But I learned that and learned to try and think about and adapt to each of the different cultures. And I traveled to the Philippines, and I traveled to actually we went even to Mexico at some stage, and every country is a little bit different, and it always paid off to learn a little bit more about the culture before you embarked on a journey, before you met people, and adapt accordingly. But I think over time you learn, particularly as an expat, if you're living and working continuously, you sort of build up a way of adapting. And listening, in particular listening, and just adapting yourself to the culture. I think it's very, very important. I have seen people that have come from the UK, have not adapted, and they come and they go very quickly. So, because not everybody can, it is a fact, but I think if you're able to listen.
What's the quality that you have that you think contributed in your success as a CEO? As an expat CEO? As
an expat CEO, I think listening is, the ability to listen, to understand people. Communication is obviously key. Patience, and not necessarily reacting too quickly. I think you need to take time to, you don't have to make a decision now. You can take time to, to contemplate, to think on the issue, and you find that things quite often resolve themselves on their own, even sometimes, if you don't make hasty decisions. So listening, patience, collecting all the information, not reacting too quickly. But of course you have to make decisions at the end of the day as a leader, and being confident and just comfortable making decisions eventually, or at the right time. You have to do that.
That's your job.
That's your job, and you have to be prepared to stand by those decisions. But I think if you've taken the time to listen, to gather the information, whatever it is, then making those decisions is not difficult.
So after being exposed to the Asian market, you moved all the way to the Middle East.
Yes.
Which is a whole different culture.
It is.
Probably very new to you at that time. So tell us about this move. In the Middle East, you have worked in Saudi, from what I understood, Bahrain, Qatar, and now Oman.
Yes. So back, I won't mention the year, but it was 17 years ago, approximately. At that time, I was an expert in becoming a subject matter expert in what was then mobile internet, which was it was 3G, and it was what they used to call WAP.
Yeah, 16, 17 years ago, like not everyone had mobile phones.
Very basic, very basic. But we and a friend of mine was working, who used to work with me in Hong Kong. He was working in Batelco in Bahrain, and he said, "Ian, can you come? We're having like a management meeting. We want to learn about this whole area of mobile internet and what the developments are." So I said, "Fine, I'll come and have a conversation." And I went along, and the first thing I remember noticing was that Singapore is very green. And when you land in Bahrain, it was very beige. So it's a very different climate immediately, you notice. But anyway,
it's still beautiful.
Very beautiful, of course. But anyway, so immediately you feel the difference from the Far East to the Middle East. But I went there, I gave my presentation, I met the team, and afterwards the CEO, which was a gentleman called Tony Hart at the time, he said, "Ian, in Bahrain there's competition coming." At the time there was only Batelco. He said, "Competition is coming. We want to prepare for competition. We want to build some capabilities, particularly around sales and marketing and customer focus. Would you consider coming to join us?" and of course I hadn't even contemplated it, but that's when the journey began. So we had a number of conversations, and he showed me around, and I kind of really grew to like the place, and I thought, again, this is another opportunity. By then as well, I was traveling a lot in the Far East, so I was traveling backwards and forwards. This was an opportunity to be in one place and focus on one market. And settle, because there are, I think, expats sometimes can be, like business development type, and travel a lot. I wanted to, at that time in my career, I was thinking I really want to settle, focus on a market, focus on one discipline, and the opportunity then was to be the sales and marketing head for Botelco in Bahrain, getting ready for competition. So I thought, this is a really great opportunity. So I eventually moved there.
And then that was your first job in the Middle East.
It was,
and then you moved to ooredoo Qatar.
So from there, from there I moved to Qatar with QTEL as it was at the time. Again, pre-competition. So I moved to Bahrain to help get ready for competition. Then again in Qatar, it was pre-competition. Some years ago, as it was QTEL. And I had a number of different positions, all the commercial positions.
You spent like 10, 11 years in Qatar?
I did, So I initially in the Qatar operation, again in commercial positions, eventually Chief Marketing Officer in Qatar. And then eventually I moved to ooredoo Group. And ooredoo Group is the function that oversees all of the operations that we have around the world in the 10 different countries. And from there one day I was offered the opportunity to come and lead the operation in Oman.
We're glad you took that job.
I jumped at the chance because what an opportunity. So
and also competition is coming up.
And coincidentally there's more competition here. Yes.
We will speak more about ooredoo and the changes you have made in ooredoo as CEO after this very short break.
Okay.
عودة لكم مجددا مستمعينا الأحبة، وضيفنا لليوم مستر ايان دنش، الرئيس التنفيذي لأوريدو عمان. Mr. Ian Dench, let's speak more about, since you have a lot of experience in international markets and in the Middle East, moving to Oman and dealing with the Omani market, did you feel any difference, and that the Omani consumer is kind of different in their expectations, their needs, the way they'd like to be treated, especially from a telecommunication company that we aspire to have it provide everything that we want?
Yeah, so I think, Omani customers, like I think a lot of everyone around the world now, they have, we all have a strong requirement and expectation for communication, particularly when it comes to our smartphones and our data and our connectivity at home, our internet at home, and of course businesses as well. But you're right. I think you're hinting that the expectations are very high, and the expectations for a good quality of service, good support, good after-sales support. Is definitely there. So you feel that, and that's something that I think is built into ooredoo. ooredoo is now 15 years old, and I think you can feel that customer focus in the culture of the organisation. Certainly, I felt it as soon as I came here, and that's something that we've been able to build on. I think in the last couple of years. Yeah.
So, what was your strategy, your main strategy that you had to follow to reach you yourself with ooredoo to where it is today in Oman?
So, there weren't any drastic changes, but we are going through some big changes globally when it comes to technology, and in particular, on the one side, there's a huge demand for connectivity. The internet is the backbone, it's the lifeblood of everything, from business all the way through to our our social lives. We can't live now without.
True. We're always on.
Our smartphones.
We're always connected. Yes.
That's right. So the first thing that we focused on when I joined was making sure that we have that connectivity, 4G connectivity in particular, and preparing ourselves, of course, for 5G now. but making sure that we have a great network with coverage, throughout Oman. And in the last couple of years, we've invested a lot in extending that 4G coverage. So that was the first thing. The second thing is that increasingly our customers expect to be served in different ways. So they want to communicate with us through social media, not necessarily call us at the call center. They want to use the internet to look for our products and services, and maybe actually get our products and services. So the second thing that we've been focusing on is a digital transformation.
Yes.
So taking our business and transforming it to serve customers in different ways. So we a couple of years ago we launched the ooredoo app.
Yes.
So now you can get your prepaid, your postpaid services through the app. We have,
and it's very user friendly.
Exactly, and a lot of focus goes into that user friendliness and how it works, and the features and functionality that's there. We've also then expanded our customer service channels to include Facebook and social media, and we're soon going to be launching WhatsApp, for example. So this was the second focus. And the third thing is really around the products and services and affordability, and making sure that we've got packages and products for different different types of people. You've got some younger people that have require huge amounts of data, and you've got other sort of light users, businesses, so focusing the products that we have for the different types of customers.
So your main focus since you became CEO of ooredoo Oman was the digital transformation in general, and ooredoo in general is known for their innovative approach in the market, whether it's in Oman or in other countries that ooredoo operates in. The lack of a lot of competition in the market, is this a good thing, or do you think having more competition is better for the market?
Competition's always good for any market. It's good for consumers, actually good for companies as well. There's quite a lot of competition in Oman, actually. You have Omantel, you have ooredoo, you have الوصال, you have Friendly, you have Renna, you have Red Bull now as well. So there's a lot of competition in the market. Of course, there's more competition coming. And for us, of course, we're not really focused on competition as such, but it does mean that we have to really make sure that we're in tune with the market. Hence the digital transformation, making sure that we're digital experience leaders, for example. Make sure that we're ahead of the game, that we're leading in innovation, that we're leading in the way that we serve our customers, making sure that we've got the best products and services, the best packages. Then we don't have to worry about competition. But of course, competition's great for consumers. It means there's choice, and it keeps us on our toes. So we have to make sure that we're always ahead of the game and ahead of competition.
So you're focused on the digital transformation, and we now live in the era of the fourth industrial revolution. Would this impact the telecommunication sector even further in terms of innovation and technologies that are offered in the market?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So, of course, there are some obvious developments that are taking place in the market. Where you look at, the connected home, so as well as the smartphone now, everything in the home is connected, and that needs, digital connectivity or data connectivity, whether it's a smart lock on the door or cameras or, the blinds can be controlled, all of these things. Home automation, that's one thing. Our smartphones, of course, are getting smarter and faster, with higher quality video, with gaming. So, game is very important. So for the consumer, there's a lot going on, and again, we have to keep up with these requirements for consumers. But one of the big changes, I think, will be for businesses. So, businesses, all businesses like ooredoo are going through their own transformation. So we're in a unique position as a technology company that's going through a digital transformation that provides the core connectivity that businesses need for that transformation. We're in a unique position to advise our customers, our business customers. So this is a focus for us as well. So our business team working with whether it's government or large enterprises or small businesses, and how technology, how the internet, how digital transformations can actually help our business customers enhance their businesses and serve their their customers better. And of course, in some instances it means, or one of the benefits of the digital transformation is the reduction in cost and improvement in efficiencies of businesses as well.
Thank you very much Mr. Ian Dench, CEO of ooredoo عمان. مستمعينا الأحبة ومشاهدينا الأحبة، مثل ما تفضل ضيفنا الكريم وذكر في نهاية الحوار، أهداف واضحة، رؤية مدروسة، وتكون جاهز لأي فرص تأتي في طريقك. هذا هو سر النجاح والوصول إلى القمة. ألقاكم إن شاء الله الأسبوع المقبل وشخصية جديدة تحدثنا عن مسيرتها. تقبلوا تحياتي ابتهال الزجالي وتحيات فريق عمل برنامج حلو الوصال الذي يأتيكم من قلب المدينة سابكو سنتر.